Hey, what's up guys? My name is Anshul and today in this video, let us briefly discuss about the release cycle of the future iPhones. And this is normally not the kind of video that I really put on my YouTube channel, but here in front of me, I have the release cycle. And damn, this is one of the most interesting leaks that I've seen from Apple in the longest time, or at least, not directly from Apple, but from a very reliable source, that is Minchi Code. Now, we already know that we will get 4 new iPhones this year by the end of this year, or I would say by the fall of the year 2025, and that is the iPhone 17, the iPhone 17 Air, the iPhone 17 Pro, and the iPhone 17 Pro Max. And now, as you already know, that I did not take name of any kind of plus devices because yes, as I already suggested in a lot of other videos, this will be one device that will be discontinued. But what is more interesting is not the iPhones of the year 2025, but really the iPhones from the year 2026 and the year 2027. So let us break everything down in this video, and I'm sure that this is not going to be a very long video, but stay tuned and let us see that what are the iPhones that we are getting in those coming years. Now, starting with the year 2026, the most exciting thing is that we will get two different releases for the iPhones, and that is basically what we really see from the Samsung smartphones year after year, because in the first half we see the Samsung Fold and the Flip devices, and in the later half of the year we see the rest of the lineup from the flagship series. For this year it is the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, and for the next year it will be the Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra, and so on. Now the thing is that for the first half of the year, for the 2026, we will see the E lineup from the Apple devices, and that would be around the spring season of the year 2026. Now that would be the iPhone 17e. That is just amazing. Now I know a lot of people did not like the idea about the iPhone 16e, and it was not very well received device, but just think about it. If there is no regular 17, or I would say the regular 18 device for the year 2026, and all they just want to do is that make a device that has got a punch hole camera or a dynamic island just like what we have on the regular iPhone 17, and that is just amazing, along with a dual camera setup, which basically means that killing the regular iPhone 18 and just making something that is the iPhone 17e with a lot of features. And that might be one direction that Apple might be going for. So for the spring of the year 2026, we might see the iPhone 17e. Now for the fall of the year, it is even more interesting because again, as the leak suggests, that there will be no iPhone 18 for the year 2026, as we might see the all new iPhone 18 Air along with iPhone 18 Fold, which is very interesting. And also we will see the iPhone 18 Pro and the 18 Pro Max, which means that basically there will not be any kind of the base model of the iPhone 18, which is one thing that is a question mark. But just think about it, if we can just put all the features of the iPhone 18 in the iPhone 17e, it would be just very amazing. But what is even more interesting is that even though that the iPhone 18 Air would be exactly the same as iPhone 17 Air with upgrades in the terms of the processors and so much so, but the iPhone 18 Pro and the 18 Pro Max might get a corner hole punch camera cut just like what we used to see on the Samsung Galaxy S10 series. And there might be some other smartphones in the market, I just do not remember the name of those smartphones on top of my head, but we have seen a lot of smartphones with just a single small camera sensor just like this thing over here, but not in the center but at one side of the display, which if you really think is just going back. But I just think so that it is a much more cleaner design, and Apple could just implement some kind of dynamic functionality in the terms of the software to make it look and feel like what we already have on the latest iPhones, but just not taking a lot of real estate in the term of the camera sensors on the front of the smartphone, which is again one of the most interesting things that I have seen from Apple in the longest time. But again, it will just make these smartphones look a bit more like the Samsung smartphones of the past, which a lot of people might or might not really like. But what is again the most interesting part of this video is the iPhone 18 Pro Fold, or maybe the 18 Fold or something. And this is again something that is not new to the market. Samsung is already doing this thing from the longest time, and we have also seen some iterations of the very same thing from the Vivos, the Oppos, and even the Google smartphones as well. And even the OnePlus also have one of their latest iterations as well. And seeing a similar move from Apple is one thing again that will just bring a lot of other smartphone manufacturers to bring a low cost, or I would say a budget friendly fold smartphone in the market as well, which is again one of the best things. Again, might be I'm not the person who would just buy an Apple Pro Fold device or maybe an Apple Fold device, but I would be one person that if there are some cheap alternatives in the market from Google and the other smartphone manufacturers, I would just go that route and just enjoy a fold device rather than going the Apple route over here, but something that if a lot of people are really interested in, then this is the year to wait for, and that is the year 2026 and not really the year 2025 for this year, because we will not see any kind of old devices, or maybe if we do, it might just be a kind of a mock-up or a mock-up release or something, but not something that will be a final release that we will be seeing until the year 2026. Now coming on to the iPhones of the year 2027, because those might be even more interesting, because in the spring of the year 2027, instead of getting one iPhone, we might see two different iPhones, and that might be the iPhone, I think so it would be the iPhone 18e and the iPhone 18. And that is again one thing that is very confusing, because I just already said that it might be that there is no base model iPhone, but if Apple does that, I think so it can just undercut even what the base model iPhone 18 is. And at the same time, it might also get the iPhone 18e with a dual camera setup and also a dynamic island as well. So a win-win situation for a lot of consumers, and really it just makes a lot of sense, because we really want Apple to just bring iPhones in two different life cycles, because hey, you know, who does not want two different kind of iPhones in the same year? And if we can just get some kind of budget iPhones at the starting of the year, it would be just amazing. And again, I just think so that Apple just did not want the E iPhones to be one of the base models, because if there is just one E model, people would just think that it is the cheapest thing to buy, and just, you know, you just need some kind of other base model alongside of the E model to just make sure that Apple does not lose their identity of being one of the most premium smartphones in the market. But now what we already have in the terms of the other smartphones in the 2027 lineup is the iPhone 19 Air, the iPhone 19 Pro, the 19 Pro Max, and the 19 Fold, that would be released by the spring of the year 2027. And again, the iPhone 19 Air would be largely the same as the iPhone 18 Air, but it could be that the iPhone 19 Pro and the iPhone 19 Pro Max might come with no kind of a camera cutout part at all. And again, this is a big change, because we would just see a punch hole camera in the iPhone 18 series and then just going back to no punch hole at all. It is just one thing that is very confusing. But if it is coming from Minchico, I think so that Apple might be working with some kind of under display camera technology, and they might have just perfected the formula that other manufacturers like Samsung and ZTE are not able to do. And that is one of the most exciting things as well, just to see the iPhones with no punch hole camera at all. And again, at the same time, we will also get the iPhone 19 Fold, the second generation of the Fold devices from Apple. And all I really just want to see is that what would be the kind of camera setup that Apple would be working with, because we already know that there has been a lot of camera compromises in these Fold devices. And again, this is just one thing that I can just not wrap my head around, because I just think so it is not very difficult to put a larger camera sensor in the Fold and the Flip devices. I just think so it is someone like Apple who just needs to be in the market and to innovate and bring a larger camera sensor, so rest of the people or the rest of the smartphone manufacturing companies could follow up and just make their smartphones even better. And well, this is one of the largest thing, because we need some kind of competition from Apple to make sure that the market is healthy, and we just not get to see some of the major leaders just like Samsung and Google, but we just want some kind of innovation, larger camera sensor, a better display quality, and better folding mechanism on the smartphones. And this might be the year, that is 2026, when we will see some major innovation, not in the year 2025 at least, but in the year 2026 and 2027 is the time when we will see some real innovation coming from Apple. And that is about the change that these devices are going to bring in the market. I think nothing is not the way to just make some of the crazy lightning on the smartphones, but we just need some of the decent smartphones in the market with decent cameras, decent battery, decent design. And that is what the Apple iPhones are all about. And well, with that said, that was all that what I really wanted to share about in this video. But do let me know in the comment sections below that what are your thoughts. And well, that was all. My name is Anshul. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.